All right, everybody. Welcome to another weekly accountability call. I want to hear from everybody I can this morning. Try to touch on everybody that's on the call this morning who can. I know some people like Aaron might be at a regular job and may not be able to speak, which is fine, but as many people as possible so I can talk a little bit less today and hear from y'all a little bit more. What I'm really wanting to focus on, and sadly, I've been sending out the past month, I've really been trying to get people on here, inviting people from outside of our brokerage, outside of the state, that are top agents, trying to just get some people to sign on here and share with us, but have not been successful. But I'm going to keep trying. But I wanted to just hopefully get a bunch of people on here that were abundant people, abundant minded, who would share where their business is coming from. There's a number of, I would think, primary ponds that real estate agents are fishing in right now. And so I wanted to start by just kind of going over those first. And maybe that would register with somebody, right? They'd be like, oh, I'm doing that. Or, oh, I've been thinking about that strategy. And so maybe this will kind of spur a discussion in that regard, but there's only one way to find out. And then I want to hear from y'all. I'll turn it over to y'all. I'm going to talk about where, my business primarily for April is coming from, like my biggest opportunities in April, what have been the catalysts for those, and we'll kind of go from there. But the first thing I was going to talk about this morning was just technology and digital marketing. That is, spoiler alert, that is one of my big things. Lead generators, relationship builders, sphere of influence touchers. I mean, it has such a ripple effect that is very, very powerful. But let's talk about what are the areas that we're talking about here. So search engine optimization. All right. Who needs some help understanding what search engine optimization is? SEO? Anybody know what SEO is?
Course.
What is it, Anissa?
Well, that's what makes you ranking in the Google when someone is looking for you and all
Okay.
the keywords.
All right. So one thing that I do on a regular basis is I will Google my niche, my specialization. So I'll Google Smith Lake Realtor, Smith Lake Real Estate, Smith Lake Homes for Sale, all different kind of things. I'll Google specific subdivisions or areas of the lake, and I'll see what's going on there. I want to see who's ranking, what are they ranking for, what content are they putting out. And in some cases, that may help me come up with some content ideas like, oh, this agent really crushed it with this. Let me just take a page out of their playbook and go see if I can recreate that video and make it better and on a different topic. So that's very, very helpful. It gives me insights into what my competition's doing and specifically what they're doing that's working. So I am trying to get as many of you as possible to just kind of study what I'm doing on my Facebook page and see what if there's any engagement from that. Where is it leading? I mean, for instance, so I showed out of town buyers lake homes 2 days last week, and I just took pictures, kind of pretty pictures from those 2 days and shared them from those 2 days. Was that worthwhile? Like when I'm out showing homes or doing anything real estate related, if I'm documenting it with photos, does it matter? Does anybody care? Good question to kind of ask yourself, and to go back and look at your Facebook page and really kind of take a step back and do an audit and go, what does my Facebook page say about me? What does it say about my real estate business? And there's really a lot of things underneath those two big pillars, I think. What does it say about me? Hobbies, family, what's important to me, outside of real estate, but also am I a busy real estate agent? So search engine optimization, are you able to be found when people go to Google and Bing and search for real estate in, so for instance, Chris, I think what I'm seeing is he's going to carve out this niche. He wants to be, Mr. Alabaster when it comes to real estate sales. So if I start Googling Alabaster homes for sale, do I find him? Okay. Can I find him? Does he have a Real Geeks landing page set up for Alabaster real estate? Does he have a YouTube channel specifically dedicated to all things Alabaster real estate, Alabaster small businesses, Alabaster living, lifestyle, community events, you name it? Is he blogging about Alabaster? So landing pages and blogs are huge. And then the other thing that is really important, and I want you guys to hear this, is immersive online experiences. So, immersive online experiences, what I'm specifically talking about here is virtual tours. Okay. So, one thing Chris, I think, should be doing every Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, Monday morning, whatever the case may be, is kind of game planning around Alabaster. All right. So, what's happening in Alabaster this week? Let's just think about this for a second. I think this is a great point. Are any of you members of what's happening in your current city? These Facebook groups, what's happening in Hoover, or what's happening in Ross Bridge, what's happening in Smith Lake, what's happening in Warrior, what's
And
happening in
all of
Alabaster?
them that close by, I am personally.
Okay, so I don't know if y'all have taken the time to notice this, but most of those groups are very, very active and have a shitload of members. Okay, so that should tell you, right? Success leaves clues. I mean, there's all these breadcrumbs to follow. So if those are popular, I mean, we could use those groups for one thing to self-discover what information are people looking for. And then Alex, you weren't on the call last week, but I was singing your praises about you doing a margarita video. The advice I would give you is it's got to be an assembly line effect. I mean, you can't, it's not a one and done. You got to keep cranking these videos out. It's got to be very, very consistent. All right. So if I'm Chris, I need to be thinking about on a Sunday evening or a Monday morning at the latest, what's happening in Alabaster this week, like community event wise, what's going on, what new listings hit the market in Alabaster this week. Maybe I want to shine a light on a small business in Alabaster. So, what Alabaster small business am I going to promote this week? Am I doing an open house in Alabaster this week? You see where I'm going with this? And so, what stories do I need to tell? What do I need to promote about Alabaster this week? Important stuff, right? That would help him start to develop this identity of Mr. Alabaster. All right. So we all need to have a niche or a specialization, something that primarily we're devoting the bulk of our attention to, right? I think it needs to be 80%, but a lot of y'all would be well served if you just started focus on the majority, just a slight majority of your content is all about or centered around one thing, one place, one area, one defined market segment. All right. Any questions about like what you should be doing, why that it matters? Before we hit record, we talked about Alex, the last Facebook post, what was it, like March 28th? Today is April 7th. So, what is that, about 10 days since his last post? Why does it matter? I think there's some questions that he needs to be asking himself, asking us, asking his fellow agents. Like, why is that important? Maybe one of the questions, like, why is consistency with social media important? But this may be the bigger question to help Alex out is, what do I need to be posting? All right. Now, we have just gone over what I need to be posting. Local market information. If Alex, where are you at, in Gardendale or Warrior? Or
Fultondale.
Fultondale. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you say I'm going to do Fultondale, Gardendale, Mount Olive, and I'm going to be I want to position myself as the residential real estate expert in that marketplace. Then you're doing the same thing that I'm recommending that Chris be doing. Your Sunday evening, Monday morning, you're going, all right, what's going on in these areas? What's happening that I can promote that would be helpful? What's the real estate market doing? Is there anything notable in the real estate market that's happening? And then, oh, I almost forgot. Has anybody noticed anything about rates? Has anybody seen any other real estate agents posting about rates lately? and what are they posting about rates? Anybody? What's going on in the world of interest rates? What's the news around interest rates?
They've come down.
Exactly. I'm just going to tell you guys this should be we've talked about we've actually modified it, right? The top three expectations that we need to not only meet, but we need to be shining examples of these three expectations of our consumers. So they're looking for somebody they can trust, right? That's really number one. That's the whole thing around visibility as well. You know, how does visibility trump ability? I mean, the more visible we are in our marketplace, both in person, you can say online or offline, the more people are just going to have just a basic comfort level with us. Makes sense? So that's all going to feed this goal of trust. But the two main things below that ultimate goal are market knowledge and your marketing skills. And what I am wanting, one of the goals having Anissa contact all these FSBOs was to give her motivation and really a reason to continue to develop and hone her marketing skills, right? Because if you can help her for sale by owner gain exposure, you're winning, right? If you can
Mhm.
use your skills to help others, you're winning. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So that's a good segue, Anissa.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Madison County says there's 40 FSBOs, and you said you contacted 12,
Yeah.
and then you got
Well, I mean, I
or,
created the table on all of them that's currently right now. So I pull all the information. I mean, I was trying to be personal, like you suggested. So I went through the text records and stuff and pull out the names that, associated with the phone number so I can reach out personally instead of have it, kind of very general, hey, you want to help. So that took me a little bit, but now I have them all organized so I can put the day when I reached out, put the day when they responded, what they responded, and going from there. So I'm just going down this line,
all
working
right.
on it.
So there's some takeaways here. One of which that I want you to recognize is that this is a pretty significant pond of opportunity to fish in.
Mhm.
You got to take these numbers when you Google, like when I Google Baldwin County FSBO, 80 for sale by owner Zillow listings pop up. 80. Got to take that with a grain of salt. Some of those are going to be like homes that we wouldn't even want to market because they look so bad. They may just be like so grossly overpriced. I don't tend to really get turned off by that, but I know some agents do, that they're just so unrealistic about their asking price that they don't want that on their list, or they've been embarrassed to market the list price where they know that it is so overpriced. But for one reason or another, we're going to whittle that list down. But even whittling the list down from 80 or 40, there is a lot of opportunity here. So you
Yeah, I
don't,
have 43 listings right now that I'm reaching out. So
okay.
out of the ones that I found, and I mean, I started a little bit through, but mostly, land, whatever it is, I'm down to contact them and, see what's gonna get out of there.
All right. So out of the 12 or 13, and again, what we're talking about here is sending text messages. So
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
those text messages, you said you got three responses, three
I've
no's.
got, yeah, three responses, and one said that they have a buyer. Another one said that it's for sale by owner. I do not have any room in my prices for real estate fees. I'm sorry. And, we had a little bit exchange. Like, I know what means for sale by owner, and I'm just offering for
Okay.
free.
Ooh, I love this one.
But,
All right.
yeah.
So let me give you, don't let me forget anything because I want to talk about that specific response. I
Yeah.
want to talk about just a general no response. So, first of all, everybody that you texted that didn't reply, want you to just follow up. And
Yeah.
one thing I'll do is I'll just keep it simple. Like, hey, this is Jason with Blueprint Realty Company. Hey, I'm just following up on my offer to help you market or gain more exposure for your FSBO listing. My offer from last week or whatever, and just see what they say. First of all, you have to believe that doing things for people without the expectation of anything in return is powerful. I mean, you have to believe that. All right.
Yeah.
So one problem that real estate agents really struggle with, especially when it comes to previewing homes and studying your local market data, there's no commission check at the end of that
And
work.
I'm not struggling with that because I take everything as a lesson. So if there's no check, okay, but it's a lesson, valuable lesson for me. So
All right. So let's think about this response. What if
yeah.
you responded to that specific FSBO and said, I totally understand. I understand the situation you're in. And again, we want this to sound like you, so it doesn't have to sound exactly like what I'm saying. And just ask a question. If I were to help you, I feel like I can help you I can help your phone ring. I can help you get more showings. I can help you sell this listing. And all I need in return is you to say something good about me to somebody else. So just ask them the question, if I help you, would you be willing to refer me to others or just have something kind to say about me? Maybe give me a Google review, a positive Google review. They're going to be like, yeah, I can do that, and go, sure. Okay. That's it. That's all I need.
I
I
mean, that's
just,
pretty much what I responded, but she is not responding back. But I'm definitely going to follow up with this one because, like you said, there's a potential of just getting some good feedback.
exactly. And the other thing is too, we need opportunities for practice. Okay. Like
Yep.
the more people we meet, the more people we talk to, the more marketing opportunities we create, the better our skills are going to be, right? So the more comfortable we're going to get around people, the more comfortable they're going to get around us, the more confidence we're going to exude. Like if Alex starts sending these text messages to for sale by owners, he might be scared shitless because he's like, well, what if somebody says yes? I don't really know how to create a reel or a YouTube short or a YouTube video or write a blog or do any of this stuff. But what it would do, my advice to Alex would be don't be afraid of what you don't know how to do. Be more eager to create motivation in your business to learn. You need to create this motivation to step outside your comfort zone and to learn new things and pick up new skills and expertise and all these things. And sometimes all we need is an opportunity to get our butt out of the seat and go start taking some massive action. All right. So the ones that you didn't hear back from, we're going to follow up with them and just go, hey, just following up on my offer from last week. Want to see if you've had time to give it some consideration. The no's, we had a real specific no, like I can't afford to pay a commission. I don't care about
Hmm.
that. And I didn't
Yeah.
say, this doesn't, it's not going to cost you anything. That's the whole beauty of this. There's no contractual obligation. There's nothing. Now,
And
of
that's what
course,
my original text message says that, it's a pro bono basically.
and this is what you have to understand as well, is that most people don't understand, don't believe, have
And
never
free.
encountered a real estate agent who's willing to do anything for them for free. All right. And so it's taking them, it's catching them by surprise. They're being caught off guard. They're like, I don't what this can't be real. She's got to be full of shit. There's got to be a
Mm,
catch. All right. And then you're just like, listen, there's no catch. And just tell them. Just like, listen, there's nothing here. There's not going to be a surprise, bill. Don't be waiting for the other shoe to drop because like I can help you right away. Right.
yeah.
And then the other people that said no, but maybe didn't provide a reason. One thing I would suggest for those folks is just to follow up and go, hey, help me understand because I got told no by a FSBO who said, well, I just had, he was very polite about it. He said no, but he said the reason I'm saying no is because I just had a professional come in. I paid like $6,000 to do some fancy schmancy video for me, so I think I'm good. And my reply was, first of all, I waited a little bit to reply. I wanted to think about it for a minute, and I thought about it for a few hours. Then I replied back, and I said, "I get it. I wanted them to know that I understood where they were coming from. Like I understand your reservations here. You might be like, I got that covered." But I said, one final question is, or one thing I believe is you can never. There is no such thing as too much marketing, especially free marketing.
Yeah.
And then he thought about it for a while and responded a few hours later. He goes, you're right. I guess it couldn't hurt. So ended up making that video for him. All right. So anybody else who wants to do this that doesn't understand how, why, what we're talking about here, any gaps, any missing connections here, any missing links here we need to kind of go over? Oh, Chris said interest rates are going down. And in case I just missed that, it's our job to report when they go up and when they go down. When they go up, when they go down. It's our job to let people know that. I mean, some people really need to refinance right now. Hey, do you need to refinance? Hey, do you need to buy? It's time to lock. All right. So everybody in the up the chain of command at Diana's mortgage company at Mortgage Right is saying lock your people, lock your people, lock your people. So whether they're looking to buy or refi, let's get them locked because we just don't know what the rates are going to do. It's a very volatile time right now. One last thing on FSBOs, just real quick, and then we're going to move on to open houses. FSBOs, they need our help, and they're super open to it. Most of them need some. The ones that aren't open to it. Most time they just need a little more nurturing.
Yeah.
They need a little more follow up. They need a little more time. But they need our help. This is a super easy. It's a deep pond. It's low hanging fruit. And so if we want to get some stuff going, let's get after it. And then, this is not a pond where everybody's fishing in, because Blake can tell you this too, if you need a second opinion, that a lot of brokerages tell their agents that they cannot work with FSBOs and to stay away from FSBOs. Okay? So it's an area where you can really shine, really, really shine. All right. So Alex hosted an open house this weekend. I'm not sure if it was on Saturday or Sunday, but the weather sucked on Sunday in most places. So obviously that's going to be a reason why, maybe only one person came to his open house. But we were talking about some things that we can do to market the open house. So that's why it's a good idea. If you're going to do an open house on the weekend, it's good to decide when and where you're going to do it in advance so that you can start marketing the open house. All right. And then the second thing I want to talk about is all right, you're driving traffic to your open house. What the hell do you do with the people that come through the door? What is your approach to the people when they come through the door? Okay. So I haven't hosted an open house. So let's think, Blake, all right, so that was this around December. Yeah. So I think late November was probably the last open house I hosted. I met
Leads.
Yeah, in Leeds, a person that came to that open
Good
house,
deals.
bought it. All right. Now I have another buyer that's actively looking that came to that open house. And the funny thing was I did not use a sign-in sheet. And it wasn't
I told
because,
Alex not to use it anymore.
yeah, and it wasn't because I didn't want to. It was because I didn't have my SHIT together before the open house and was trying to print it last minute, and we were out of printer ink or some shit. I don't know what it was. I couldn't even print flyers for the open house. We had enough ink to print like 2 flyers. And so I showed up to this open house with no sign-in sheet and 2 flyers and got one closed deal off of it and one other one that I'm hoping to get under contract soon.
Sorry.
Like, what you got?
Didn't the buyer write from the open house? You got lucky in that regard. They came to the open house, wrote, and then you obviously got another buyer off of it. And
What happened was I had about 8 couples or 8 different buyers come through the open house. It was a beautiful day, so I hung out outside in the front yard, waved to people as they drove by, tried to wave them in if the creepers.
You were the creeper, all right?
Yeah, and I was the creeper. They're like, "What is this guy doing? Come inside this strange house." And again, didn't have an open house sheet, so I was talking to them. I would greet them. I was, go on in, have a look around, and be right here when you've got questions. But had some conversation with them before they walked in the open house. Where are you from? What brings you to the open house today? Are you looking for yourself? Are you looking for somebody else? Went in through some qualifying questions and then caught them on the way out. I said, listen, I just needed a brief second to speak with you before you leave. If I'm talking to somebody else who's about to walk into the open house, please just wait just a second because I want to get some feedback from you to report to my seller. So I had a visitor from that open house that bought. She was represented by an agent. I had another visitor to the open house that was just hot after the property. I'm going to talk about her in depth in a second. And then I had another couple from Mississippi come through the open house. And as they're exiting the open house, we did kind of our little exit interview, if you will, after they left the open house. That's when we really started talking about their needs and why they're at the open house, and really got into if they needed some help and how I could help them. But the person that wrote the offer got cold feet within like 24 to 40 hours of writing the offer, because the other person that came to the open house to buy it, she snoozed and let this other person get the offer put in before her. But as soon as this other person got cold feet and backed out, I called her and said, hey, guess what? It's your lucky day. This other lady got cold feet. So if you want to write an offer, you'll be in first position. She wrote the offer and bought it. So it's a very successful open house. And I haven't been in an open house since. And you're like, what the hell is wrong with him? He needs to get his ass in an open house. And you're absolutely right. I do. And I will at some point. Maybe not this weekend because I'm doing an event this weekend at Addie's Place. I'm sorry, I'm doing an event this weekend to support Addie's Place, a nonprofit that helps young children that are from really bad homes. Okay. And then that's my April event. And then my May event is going to be the Memorial Weekend Wake and Lake Bash, if some of y'all can make it. But this is at the Lakeshore Marina this Sunday, supporting Addie's Place. So I can't do it this weekend. Maybe I'll do it next weekend. All right. Now, I said you guys were going to get a chance to do a lot more talking, and I've almost talked for 40 straight minutes. Let's talk about this open house marketing, and then let's talk about how you're interacting with these open house visitors to increase your opportunity to close more business. Most agents that I know that are consistently hosting open houses, doing 2 a month, sometimes in some cases 4 a month, that's all they do. That's where 80% of their business is coming from. All right. So if you have, like we had Kevin, who was working out of the Huntsville team up there, and just did a ton of open houses, nothing really ever came from it that I know of. Why? Like we were never able to get to the bottom of that. So it had to do with his prep. I mean, this is like irrefutable facts. Like it had to do, in my opinion, with his preparation or lack thereof, his marketing or lack thereof, and his interactions with the people that came to the open house or lack thereof. Blake, what you got?
I've noticed, I've studied this a lot because it's something that keeps on coming up, and people, the open houses are the lowest hanging fruit, right? And each and every time, what do we see people do? And one thing I've noticed too is that the people that don't have a lot of success at open houses continually have one thing in common: is they wait around until someone asks them to do an open house. If you go out and seek the houses that you want to hold open, usually the people that do that, generally speaking, have much more success if they're consistent. Like looking at properties that have a high safe count on Zillow, pulling the comps yourself instead of, for instance, Alex just getting told, hey, I got this property, why don't you do it? Versus Alex going out and being like, hey, I've had my eye on this Alabaster property, Chris, can I hold it open?
Okay.
Not Alex as an example, but just to say.
Well, and I think that also opens us up to a broader reason or explanation why most agents fail or struggle, because most agents are waiting for somebody to go, hey, help me buy, help me sell, help me hold this home open. They're waiting for an invitation to do something. And who do you know that's super successful that just waits for things to happen for them instead of waiting for things to happen to them instead of making things happen for themselves? So that's why I'm saying, like, Sunday evening, Monday morning, we start getting the hamster on the wheel, thinking about, all right, so if I'm committed to doing open house this Sunday, where am I going to do the open house at? A lot of times the agents are like, hey, can you hold this house open for me? It's because they don't want to hold it open.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, it's that way in a lot of cases. It's in BFE. I mean, Blake, you probably got suckered into doing a lot of BFE open houses for agents in Baldwin County when you first got started because they didn't want to do them because they knew you had to put like 35 open house signs to get people back to this open house. And then nobody was probably going to come anyway.
Nice house. You told me it was a waste of my time, I think was your quote, is they don't want to do it.
All right. So let's talk about this. I think this could be potentially powerful. I'm going to use Chris as an example here. So Chris is like, I want to be the king of alabaster real estate. All right. So it's Sunday evening, Monday morning. It's like, all right, what do I need to do? Okay. One thing that would be really helpful for me to be the king of alabaster real estate is to do an alabaster open house. So I can do that for a for sale by owner. There may be a new construction community opportunity, or I can hold one for another agent, whether that's insider company or outsider company. My vote would be for sale by owner. Maybe there's not, what I tend to look for like Pelham, Helena, Alabaster open houses or FSBO open house opportunities. There's really not a whole lot to choose from. But I guarantee you, Chris is a pretty social guy. I guarantee you he's friends with some agents in Alabaster that have some listings he could hold open. So let's say, for example, he finds one. It's like, all right, I'll hold in 123 Main Street in Alabaster, Alabama, open from 1 to 3 p.m. this Sunday. That's going to help him put the rest of his week together. That's going to help him put his content creation together for the week because he can say, all right, one thing I'm going to go do is I'm going to go preview all the other homes in a 1 mile radius. I want to see what the competition looks like in case anybody shows up to my open house and says, hey, we've been to like 3 other listings in the area. I can talk about those listings that they've seen as intelligently as they have, if not more. Okay. Because I've been in them, so if they have any questions about how the seller of this property arrived at their price, or they want to talk about how it's underpriced, overpriced, I'm able to combat objections because I know what they know. And knowing what they know is going to help me build trust. And it's going to help me build their confidence in me, but it's also going to help me confidently project my dialogue in the conversation. I'm going to be very, very confident and I'm going to be projecting my voice with confidence. So I can tell you the fastest way to lose somebody's trust is, especially in our business, is for the consumers to feel like they know more than you do. Like, I've been to these houses and you haven't. What's up with that? The other thing I could be doing is I could look at this house and go, all right, well, it's in a mile drive from what? Any good coffee shops, any good restaurants, any good parks, any good recreation or leisure activities? Maybe there's something going on, right? And it would be okay if it's in a neighboring area. Like, one good thing about living in Alabaster is it's close to Pelham and Helena, and there's all kind of little stuff going on in those areas. Okay, so I can market the lifestyle of this house. I can market the market data around this house, what's selling, what's not selling, why is it not selling, what's it selling for. And then I can also market features of this home. So I can say, I can look at this home. I'm going to preview it before the open house because I don't need for the first time that I see it to be the open house. So I'm going to go out there and take a look at it. And I'm going to notice that it's got like this jaw-dropping remodeled kitchen, and I'm going to go do some content on the kitchen. But then I'm going to say, like, if you think this kitchen is nice, what do you see the outdoor kitchen, or what do you see the backyard, or what do you see the location? And so I can build upon that. I can build some anticipation. I can give people a valuable reason to show up to the open house. Maybe there's some seller incentives, like the seller's offering a closing cost credit. There's some things I can talk about there. And that's going to what? I mean, if you see that, like, how many boxes I'm checking off? Like, that's going to give me consistent content. That's going to force me to do market research. That's going to force me to preview homes in the area. Like, there should not be a home in Alabaster that comes on the market that Chris doesn't see within reason, right? Like, he's being very proactive to make sure that as many listings as possible that hit the market in Alabaster that he's seen them firsthand. That's also going to be a confidence booster. That's also going to help you price homes when you list them better. It's going to help you advise your clients how to structure a accurate market value offer on listings when you're working as a buyer's agent. It just there's so many of these collateral benefits. It's like mind blowing. All right. I think I'm out of time here. I'm really glad I gave y'all a good chance to talk this morning. Maybe I'll give you a little more time next week. We'll see. Alex, if what I'm saying was about as clear as mud, that's why you got Blake in the office. He can break it all down for you. And then Chris, keep leading by example, brother. See y'all later.